starting fresh. What's up, construction fans? Grey Wolf here. It's finally time to start playing Construction Simulator 3, but before we start, let me delete these old accounts. This one's got 40 hours on it. These are all from the beta testing, so I'm going to delete them and start fresh. This is 21 hours, let's say 22. So we're deleting about 62 hours worth of progress for the sake of this new series called Let's Play. This should be no problem. Deleting it is not an issue to me. I've made many profiles in Construction Simulator 2. So let's start with a new profile. And it looks like we have Denzel Washington, Foxy Grandpa, Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite, Selena Williams, the Red Woman from Game of Thrones, Glenn from The Walking Dead, an angry Denzel Washington. But I think we're gonna go with Serena Williams this time. She's a commanding force on the construction site, and my favorite color is red. So we'll do that. And now, when we're going on to the next part of the character selection, the character name, you're really limited to, I believe, 10 characters. 10 or 12 characters. So Grey Wolf Construction is a no-go. We'll just call it Grey Wolf and settle with that. And for company name, we're gonna say Let's Play. So, with that said, let's choose the finance cycle time. Sync the cloud is gonna be important. This way, if you ever lose your account, we can re-download it. Finance cycle, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, and 90 minutes. This is basically when the bills are due. So every 90 minutes, I'm gonna get charged my fees. Traffic violations disabled, and we're gonna set the hydraulic controls to arcade since we just wanna have some fun. Now, let's get into the game. So many people have been waiting for this, very excited. I cannot wait to finally show you. Chapter 2, A Drive Through Gamzee. Now, the interior view is new to Construction Simulator 3. It's a feature that a lot of us fans have been waiting for. It's also something the developers really took into consideration, mainly because a lot of cell phones don't have the memory space that is needed to make this possible. And while optimizing phones, like Android phones and such, making sure nothing is taken away from the game is crucial when also adding these great features. Now let's take a nice stroll through Gamzee and notice that looking around while you drive is crucial but tricky. So I'm going to be quiet now and I'm going to let you guys enjoy the ambience of Gamzee, and if you can, try to spot as many Easter eggs as possible. These are hidden throughout Gamzee as well as Neuestein. I'm still getting that word wrong. And these are collectibles, currently Easter eggs for the holiday. Just long press on them, and you'll collect the $1,000 bonus, as well as the prestige of eventually finding all of them. Now, we're finally here at the home base, your headquarters, place of operations, your vehicle hall, and a place that you can accept and store materials. If you go ahead and do the tutorial, you won't have a hole in the roof. You can also quick travel your vehicles to the home base for free. But since I would like to take a little drive around the nice German town that we're going to be playing in, I'm going to be driving my vehicles in the beginning of this game from the vehicle dealer. Now we're driving the Caterpillar 430 F2 backhoe. This is the staple machine that all of you will start with. It's absolutely free, but will more than pay for itself 1,000 times over throughout the contracts. It's the main workhorse of your company, and it's an excellent wheel loader and excavator, as well as serves a little bit of a purpose as a small-time crane when necessary. Now, handling this front loader or backhoe, whichever you'd like to call it, can be a little tricky. They did make this vehicle true to its functionality in the way that it drives, the way that it stops. And I remember growing up as a kid and seeing these drive by my house all the time. And the way they rock back and forth when slowing down or stopping is truly authentic to the machine's function. And just be aware, because the brakes on this machine are very effective, and the control and stability of the steering is also highly sensitive. So be careful, just learn the machine. It's a lot of fun. It will take your company a long way. And if you're like me, you grew up seeing these driving down the roads of your small town, and you'll find a certain nostalgia in actually getting to use one of these machines. Now that we're almost at the home base, we're going to accept our first contract. Chapter 3, our first job. Now you can use the mini-map above, but I prefer to turn that off. What I'll use instead is the main map, and try to memorize exactly where the construction site's going to be. Now that we know where it's at, let's get driving there. An awesome feature is the helper feature, the helper function. And since the MAN TGX truck, flatbed with crane, also doubles as a dump truck, you can actually use the assisting function on this machine. It's tricky though, because driving with the assistant is almost like driving with a rookie driver. You need to take careful consideration and a lot of precaution. The trail finding of the assistant isn't that great, so you'll really have to go the extra mile to make sure that they stay on the right side of the road, as we are not, and that they don't turn into other vehicles or buildings as you're driving. This too can be tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it can be a lot of fun for your construction sites. Now we're here at this job site, and this is just a small landscaping job. So we'll pull up, deactivate the assistant, or else he'll follow us around, and crown ourselves king of the construction site. Chapter 4, Excavate Excess Soil. So for this part of the contract, we're here to excavate this excess soil in front of the house. Now using the backhoe's front loader, we can make pretty quick work of this soil here. And with the awesome cab view, we get a really close look at what we're actually scooping up. Now of course you can use the backhoe excavator function to remove the soil if you'd like, but I honestly prefer to use the wheel loader function because it's going to be a little bit faster and a lot more effective. Now that we're all finished with removing the excess soil, the next thing is going to be to take the soil to the gravel pit. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's make sure there's no more excavation that's needed before we drive away with our excess spoil. The dump truck needs to be filled up all the way to really make good use of your time and your excavation functions. And with the icons, you can see just how full the dump truck actually is. Chapter 5, To the Gravel Pit and Beyond. Now our next task asks for some materials from the material trader. But first let's take this excess soil to the gravel pit, offload the excess spoil, get some money for our troubles, and then go to the material trader next door and pick up the necessary materials to complete the contract. Now German drivers are very nice and friendly, so do be courteous, and then when you're at a stoplight, make sure that you let them drive first, because sometimes they're not going to stop for you, even though you're in a bigger truck. And you also want to avoid damaging their vehicles because it doesn't look good on your company. And if you have traffic violations on, you're going to lose money. And if you're trying to make money, that's not very cost effective for your company. So, while you're driving in cab view, do try to look around as best as you can, but also notice that the camera will reset. So don't allow this to throw you off while driving. Just enjoy the view and enjoy the ride. Stop way ahead of time, or let off the gas, and look both ways before crossing. You will be surprised sometimes traffic comes out of nowhere. And since we're almost to the gravel plant, I'm going to let the game do the rest of the talking. So backing in can be tricky. My tip to you, try to line up in front of these trees here, really as close as you can get. That way when the reverse camera kicks in, you've got plenty of time to adjust yourself. My second tip, stop a little bit shorter than you think and look to see for the white car. If you can see the white car in your secondary window, then you're golden. Now release the soil and let the funds come in. Now that we're next door at Klodsen Kiel, we're going to pick up the materials necessary for this current contract. And as long as you park with the vehicle still in view of the building, you can enter the building from the cab view. Just long press on the building. That easy. This is also possible with cement trucks. And if you click on the clipboard in the upper left corner, you'll find the necessary materials for either the task or the entire job. And sometimes I recommend that you just buy everything right up front and bring it to the job site. Less travel time equals more effective contracts completed in a much faster pace. And you might not think this, but loading the back of the truck is a little bit of a puzzle as well. You want to make sure that everything fits on there perfectly. I, unfortunately, the first time just put things on there willy-nilly. And then moments later I had to readjust it so that I could fit the saplings on the back. These are all lessons that we learned throughout playing the game of Construction Simulator, and it really does make a difference in your gameplay when you have to have these tactile decisions made. So here's the materials we need: concrete bags, lumber boards, and saplings. Now we're going to speed through the loading process and get right back down to the nitty-gritty of the construction site. Now, where was that construction site? I can't remember on the map, but if I'm going to remember the town, I got to look around real quick and just to see where it's at. Oh, here it is. Okay, the big yellow excavator definitely gave it away. All right, now that we're back, let's get back to work and finish this contract. Chapter 6, Compact Contract. So in Construction Simulator 3, we have 3 compactors to choose from. Caterpillar, Verten, and Bomag. They all cost the same, the rents are the same, so it's down to color preference. Personally, my favorite color is red, so we'll go with the next, and that's orange, and this is a beastly looking compactor. Long press to open up the function menu, turn on your blinky light, let everyone know, hey, I'm here, I'm loud, and I'm compacting, get out of my way, jump right into the interior view, and get a really close look at what you're actually compacting on the job site. Now that the compacting is all finished, let's return the vehicle and move on to the next task. Chapter 8, Bring in the materials. Now you might notice the way I positioned the backhoe here. Remember how I said you could use it as a small-time crane as well? Well, I do enjoy doing this, but the reach can be limited, so it is smart to use your MAN TGX to position the materials in a way that the backhoe can reach it. So let's go ahead and first place the concrete bags, because there's probably no way the backhoe is reaching that over the sapling, and then we'll place down one of the lumber boards and let the backhoe do the rest. Now that the materials are in place, let's clear the site for their carpenters to come in and do their job. And let's go ahead again and rent another vehicle to use on this site. Chapter 9, Bring in the Bobcat. Another brand a lot of players are excited about is the Bobcat brand being brought to CS3. And as a bonus, they also included the Bobcat Mini Excavator, something that a lot of players were asking for in the last game in Construction Simulator 2, and something a lot of us were fond of in Construction Simulator 2014 and 2015. And a cool functionality that added in CS2 that's now here in CS3 is the ability to use the excavators as small cranes. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to use this little Bobcat to haul these materials over into their proper area like a tiny little mobile crane. Now that the carpenters have laid down most of the boards, we're going to be placing the last two elements of this deck, and then we'll see what the contract calls for next. So now it's time to excavate some small holes for the saplings to be put into. So let's get them into place and let's offload the saplings and just have them on standby. This way we can use the man TGX dump truck function to load the excess soil. And we'll just go ahead and set you there. And that's good. Hey, alright, I'll just pick that up later. No worries. Let's just keep going. Now you can see the limited reach of the small excavator and the backhoe especially. So the Bobcat tiny little excavator here is a perfect fit for this mini crane operation that we're running right now. And setting these saplings down, we're going to move on to the next task. Please do not knock this tree over. I do not need 2 trees that are broken already. That's not good for the contract. Our company is still fledgling and we're over here destroying property before we even get it finished. I'm going to switch back to the truck and move it into place to accept some of the excavation, the excess soil that's going to be dug up here by our Bobcat. And let's just pick this up before the owner comes home and sees trees laying all over their property, willy-nilly. Alright, we'll set you there. Nice and easy. Don't fall. Good. Okay, now we're gonna back up and we're gonna get in a position to excavate this spot, and I love using the cab view, but also again, the excavator's arms are a little tiny, they're like T-Rex arms, so get nice and close to the dump truck as you can, but not too close so that you can't properly unload the spoil in the back of the dump truck. And the cab view is such a nice touch, especially the open sunroof view. This really helps you to visualize where your bucket is and how to properly dump the spoil into the back of the dump truck without causing any problems or spillage off the sides. Now that's done, let's get into the second spot, and it looks like one of the saplings is already placed exactly where it should be. That's kind of funny, a little coincidence. But let's go ahead and put one of the saplings in the hole. That way it's there and it's ready, it's not in our way. We'll just drop it in here without dropping it on the ground. Let's not knock it over like we did before. And by doing this, you're kind of already setting up the next part of the task to auto-complete. So this will make your job and life a lot easier. Alright, let's go ahead and move this little sapling out of the way and excavate in the proper area. Just put it aside in a spot that's not going to be completely in the way, but still at least relatively close by. I am going to need to back up the MAN TGX truck to that spot so that I can offload the excess spoil. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And carefully backing in without knocking over the sapling. Let's try not to damage these trees anymore before they ever get planted. I'm sure they need to look pretty when the job's done. So here we go. We're going to be finishing up this part of the contract, and it looks like while you have a full bucket of spoil, you can also grapple the trees. That would be kind of a strange challenge. See if you can dig this hole while also having the tree hooked onto the bucket. I don't think that would be very effective. And the next part of this contract is going to ask us to finally plant the tree in just a moment. And once we do so, it's going to automatically plant the other sapling because it's already in place. And as you can see, the circle's already filled up. So let's go ahead and pick up our sapling. Let's put it in the blue marked area. And once it turns green, you can go ahead and click the hook and it automatically sets it for you. Bingo. Now we need some gravel. Chapter 10. Pass the gravel, please. So since we no longer need the Bobcat, we can go ahead and return that as well. And let's get the backhoe in place to receive the gravel once it gets here. But of course, we can't put gravel in the back of the TGX if there's still soil in it. So let's take the soil to the gravel pit. We're going to dump it off in the spoil bin, get the money for it, and then grab the gravel needed, bring it back to the site. We're going to pour it onto the spot that's needed, just at the beginning of it, not all over it, because that can be a little tricky sometimes as well. There's a nice function that the developers had created for this game with the wheel loaders that you can use the bucket on the wheel loader as a bulldozer. And I was explained this by one of the developers early on in the beta testing, and they really wanted to see if the function worked well. It took us a little bit to get it right, but I did figure it out, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a moment. Okay, clearly I'm lost again. I have been traveling around for at least 3 minutes now trying to figure out what part of town I'm supposed to take this gravel to. And with the mini map function, it helps a lot to figure this out. You can also long press the map icon in the upper left corner to pull up the map to see where your vehicle is and where the construction site is. But I'm too stubborn. I want to figure it out on my own. I'm just going to keep driving around town until I figure it out. So, I finally figured out where the construction site was. I'm sure they're wondering where the hell I've been. But here I am, and we're going to drop off the spoil right here, just like this. Drop the gravel off in the front. That way we can use the wheel loader's bulldozer function to push it into place. Now the trick is to raise the bucket in a way that puts it into a bladed function mode. So you'll kind of tilt it like this, and you're going to want to put it down into the ground or into the excess soil and start pushing. And you're going to want to lift up. But when you go to do it again, make sure that you're pointing the blade of the bucket down so that it acts as a bulldozer blade. And this will work very effectively. It may take a couple tries, but you will get it, and this is going to make your construction sites a lot of fun. Voila! That's what our two saplings turned into. We got a beautiful deck, and the contract is done. So that is it, guys. I thank you for coming to watch the video. I will see you all in the next one. Also, watch out for the Hardcore series. And if you haven't yet, follow us on Instagram and also like the Facebook page. Give this video a like and subscribe to my channel at Grey Wolf Construction. And I will see you all in the next one, guys.